Hey guys, and welcome back to our world. I'm Reagan.
And I'm Riley.
And we're Reagan and Riley. And today we're going to be discussing how our mom was more than just a stay-at-home mom. For those of you who don't know, our mom passed away in July of last year, along with our dad, who passed away in October of last year. So the last video that we did talked about kind of our dad's story in relation to his life and kind of his upbringing, his success in life, and then kind of how that's impacted my sister and I. And now we kind of want to get into our mom's story and kind of how her upbringing led her to where she got in life and how she impacted us. So, Riley, do you want to start off? I feel like we never start off with you.
I don't really know how to start.
Okay, so I'll start. So, as I always do. So my mom grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, which is a very, very, very small town in Ohio. It's maybe about like 45 minutes to an hour outside of Cleveland. And a lot of my mom's family lived there. My grandma on my mom's side, her name's Karen, she lived there. After she graduated from high school or college, she moved there, then met my grandfather who lived there. He was born and raised in Alexandria, Louisiana, but he was practicing dentistry in Ohio by the time my mom and my aunt were born. And so, to put it lightly, my mom, grew up very privileged. It's very similar to me and my sister. My grandmother was a teacher. Like I said, my grandfather was a dentist. He did very well for himself. And so just overall, coupled with his success and kind of my mom going to private school, things of that sort. Also, her whole family was in the city with her. So that was one of a huge thing for my mom's upbringing. All of her cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody lived in the same city. So it was very much so a family unit. My mom always said that she got her family traits or her family beliefs and ideals of being there for one another and hosting, being together for the holidays, etc. from her grandmother. We called her Grammy. So that's my great-grandmother and Riley's great-grandmother. And ever since then, she just kind of had that lead her entire life and how she's interacted with like us as her kids and her nieces and nephews, her sister, her grandfather. Like my mom has always been the one to kind of keep the family together. And I think, similar to the story that we were telling with our dad with him being gone all the time, for work, my mom really had to step up to the plate. And she would tell us all the time that she not only had to be the mother to us, but she also had to be the father in some aspects. And I think growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, like we didn't have, like my mom, like I said, in Ohio had a ton of family members around her always for the holidays. And I think that's when my dad kind of got his really like intense side of family from, because I think on my dad's side of the family it's kind of more spread out in terms of people getting together for the holidays and things of that sort. It's not like my mom's everybody comes together, but I know it's kind of a smaller family unit that my dad has. So he got his idea of like a big family like from my mom's side of the family. And when my mom moved to Memphis after my parents had gotten married, that's when they had me and my sister. We were born and raised there. Like I said, there was no family on my mom's side that was there. And so she kind of had to step up to the plate and be the grandparent. She had to be, like I said, the father, the aunt, the uncle, all of that stuff when, because like I said, our life was different than hers because she had all her family around. And we would always take times during the summer to go and visit our cousins on my mom's side of the family. Like, I can't like think of a summer when we didn't go to Houston to visit with them, like literally. And we would spend the entire summer there from like May all the way up until August, right before school started. We would spend time there just because my mom always wanted to get out of Memphis. She was not the biggest fan of Memphis. Even though that's like where Riley and I were born and raised, I can't say that like I love it there. It's like I love it for the fact that like that was where I was born and raised and I met some great people there. But like we said, like we wouldn't live there personally. And I think after a certain period of time that my mom got tired of being there, so she would always find an excuse to get us out of the city. Like in the previous video we mentioned, like we would go to like the Opryland all the time. Just to get out of Memphis, like, had 3 hours down the road to Nashville. So we were always going on vacations and things of that sort. But to pretty much get into it, like I said, my mom was everything to me and my sister. And she made sure that we knew it. She worked day in and day out tirelessly to be there for us at any time, any hour, any day, regardless of what it was, whether that be, we need to talk about, a situation that we're in with a friend, or, we're going through a tough time, dealing with, I don't know, just like being in school, like, she always provided resources to us, whether that be via herself or made sure that we had the resources via somebody else, whether that be tutors or whatever the case might be, just to make sure that Riley and I literally had everything to a T, like, not handed to us, but like laid out for us. I don't want to say handed because that makes it seem like we just, grew up not working for anything. Because I definitely feel like we've worked to where we've gotten today. Like, yes, we've had things like we've had opportunities presented to us, but it's been up to us to take that and do something with it. So, but she kind of laid the foundation for that, really showed us what family is about, showed us what loyalty is, showed us what, it really means to sacrifice something for your family. I mean, I think, a lot of times, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, like literally from the time that I was born. So my mom, she actually ended up so my mom went to Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, which is an HBCU. Go Bulldogs. And actually, my grandpa and my great-grandmother actually ended up going to that school as well on my mom's side. Just fun little fact. So I have a lot of history there. My mom was an AKA. She pledged there, Pi chapter. And she loved her time there. And then when she graduated, actually, when she was in college is when she met my dad, because he was at Vanderbilt down the street in law school. And they actually met in the law library because my mom was considering going to law school and taking some law classes and things of that sort. So that's how they connected. And I think my mom was interested in going to law school at one point, and then she was like, F it, I don't want to do that, whatever. And then she ended up getting her master's in public administration from the University of Akron. And then my parents ended up getting married, and then she moved to Memphis, Tennessee after my parents got married. And, she ended up working in the Shelby County Clerk's office, I want to say, for a little minute, right before you and I were born. And then once I was born, it was like she was done. And I think she also had some issues kind of working there. She didn't like some of the politics of what was going on inside the office. And so she ended up wanting to leave. And I think kind of having me was kind of like her excuse to kind of like get away from that environment. And so she did. And then that kind of ended her working career. And then she dedicated herself to being a full-time mom. And I think, one thing that my mom always said to Riley and I is that, she always made sure that we knew like how hard she worked to be a mom. I feel like I tell people this all the time. Like, I have a 9-to-5 job. Okay. I work in corporate America. There's never a moment in time where I'm like stressed beyond belief to where like I can't do it. Like, I'm like fundamentally like I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. But like if I had a child right now, or like even just the idea of having a child, like I want to like scream. Like, because it's just like, I just feel like that's such an overwhelming task to take on. Such an overwhelming responsibility to take on.
Because I feel like when you're a full-time parent, it's like you have like no break. Like, I feel like when you have a job and have kids, it's like, okay, like you can go to work and then you're kind of like de-stressing and focused on like something else, and then it's like, okay, like you'll come back to your kids. But I think like for mom it was like constant. Like there was no break away from us. Like it was 24/7 around the clock all the time.
Yeah. And I think also too, like, while like I don't know, like, because I think my mom definitely felt like rewarded in what she was doing in terms of being a stay-at-home mom. And she knew that Riley and I were great people, good people, had good hearts. And that was like the biggest thing. She just wanted us to go out here and become successful and then be good people. That was like the only, two things that she really asked of the two of us. And she made, I think she took the time to be very meticulous about the lessons that she instilled in us. Like me and my sister had a very open relationship with my mom. Like I said, compared to my dad, he was kind of more shut off and very like surface level. Like, how was your day? How was school? How are your classes going? Like, how was your volleyball, practice, whatever. But my mom was like very like intense. Like, I want to know every single detail of what's going on with you personally. And we were around her so much, and our connection with her grew over time so much as we got older, to where like there would be times when like I'd not want to tell my mom something and she'd know that I was lying, even though I was convinced that like I was doing a pretty good job with keeping stuff away from her, and she'd know that I was lying, and she'd be like, BS, like, I know you're lying to me. I know that this is what actually happened, and I don't know why you're lying to me. So, I mean, she knew us like the back of her hand because we spent so much time with her. It is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can like do that with me? Like when I'm lying to you, do you feel like you can tell when I'm lying to you or not?
I don't know. I feel like you don't really lie to
That's
me.
true. I don't. But yeah. And so I don't know. We just spent a lot of time with her. Like my dad was always working all the time. And even like when my parents got divorced, which is another topic that we'll get into later, just as how like their divorce kind of impacted the two of us. But, even when my parents like got divorced, there were like kind of visitation rights and things of that sort. Like the times that we were supposed to be with my dad, you know, he would be working. So we would take that time. There was supposed to be visitation with him, and we'd be with our mom. Like there was really no ever like real visitation with my dad. Like we would
pop in.
Yeah,
for a
we'd
minute
pop
or
in.
two.
Like we'd go golfing with him at the country club.
Go to the country
you know,
club,
maybe
go
like
golf.
once every other Wednesday after we
We
got
go
out
to
of
dinner.
school.
We got after school. We go to dinner on
go to
Wednesday.
dinner, yeah.
On Wednesdays, and then that was our time.
Yeah, we'd go to Grizzlies games with him.
Yeah, he had season tickets, so
Yeah.
we go to Grizzlies games,
And that was pretty much our
What we did.
relationship with him.
yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, that's how we spent time with good old Daddy Dearest. But my mom, we
Wednesday
did
dinners
everything.
were probably my favorite though.
Yeah, Wednesdays were good times.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. But I don't know, we just had like a lot, like I don't know, like before my parents got divorced and stuff like that, like my mom, we would always, like Riley said, like go to the country club and everything.
I don't really
and
remember that time. My parents got divorced when I was in 3rd grade.
well, I was in the 7th grade.
Yeah, so I feel like I've spent I've spent pretty much my whole life. So I don't really remember.
Yeah. Well, I just know, like, I don't know. I think, so coupled with, like, my dad's background, I think it's important to recognize that, like, my dad grew up really disadvantaged financially. And so I think in his eyes, being a father and being a husband was, like, more so, like, providing for the family financially. And my mom's eyes, she grew up, you know, privileged. So, and she was very much so around her family all the time. So I think in her eyes, she was like, what's more important to me is family, spending time with one another, making memories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And not to say that my mom didn't care about finances, because trust me, she was not going to marry a broke man. But at the same time, like, family was more important to her.
Well, I don't know, because like dad was just in law school, you know?
Yeah, but she knew that he was going to, like, become successful. Like, she...
Well, how do you know?
I don't know. She just, you know, she had
think.
faith in him.
I think that it was just, like, love.
It was love. I'm not saying that she didn't love the man, but I'm saying, like...
I don't think that it was...
I think she knew that he was about to do great things. Like I said, dad was one of 4 African Americans in Vanderbilt's law school. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It just is crazy. Maybe it's this, like, whole idea of, like, I can't imagine dad.
Like, even now, like, there are plenty of people who are, like, wanting to, like, marry lawyers and people in med school because they know that they're going to freaking make money. Like...
Yeah. People are going after lawyers and engineers these days.
Yeah, engineers I've heard is where it's at. I've heard that's where everybody's like, get yourself an engineer. And I'm like, okay. I know a lot of female friends of mine are engineers. I know some males, but, you know, not that I know more female engineers than I do male engineers. But anyways,
I know both.
Yeah. So I don't know, like growing up I think my earliest memories of like us as a family, like were like you said, like going to the country club together, like every single Wednesday we used to go. Riley and I were actually the first Black family at our country club, which is a little historical fact.
I really think that we need to have like a photo up on the wall. Like that's a very iconic thing to have happen.
A photo up on the wall is a little crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, we were the first Black family at our country club. And I don't know, our life was just, you know, different. And I think, you know, over time, like our dinners used to be all 4 of us together at the country club. And then as my dad started to become more successful, like it just used to be me, my mom, and my sister. So like a lot of the things that like we have, like memory wise, are just like with me, my mom, and my sister. Like vacations, dinners, practices, volleyball tournaments. Like there was some game, like my dad definitely showed up to my volleyball games and he showed up to some volleyball tournaments, but it was like one of those things where like with my dad, you had to like schedule him in advance. Like if he was going to show up to something, he needed to know like weeks to months in advance as to when something was going to happen, that way he could block off his calendar. Outside of that, like it was like if you caught him at a bad time, it's like, oh, got court. Oh, like
every time I called him, he'd be like, "Daddy's in court right now.
Exactly,
can't talk."
Yeah, literally. So anyways, yeah, so, and like people, like I said, not everybody, but a lot of people in Memphis know my dad. Like you could just Google him and you can read articles about the man. And so, you know, I think like just I don't know. I was gonna get into a point, but
I think that what Reagan is trying to say is that because dad had all of these things and he was always busy working, it put extra pressure on our mom to do everything else.
yeah, like be there for us mentally, emotionally, physically, things of
Yeah.
that sort to
Yeah.
make sure that like we didn't go without. And like I guess
She created, like, my dad created like financial stability, but my mom created like,
she made the home.
yeah,
My
like
dad created the
life.
foundation,
Yeah.
but she brought the vision together.
My dad laid the land. He's the dirt that laid the land, but mom built the house.
That's a good way to
Period.
put it. Yeah. And so like I said, like anything that we like ever did together, like it was just always the three of us. We have some of the best memories that I've like shared with you guys previously, and I don't know, like I just love my mom. Like I miss her dearly. I love her to death. I mean, I feel like sometimes
I'm gonna get emotional.
Stop. If you get emotional, then I'm gonna get emotional.
I know.
You can't get emotional. Not
I'm
right
trying.
now. Today this is not the episode for getting emotional. Not yet. But yeah, she was like one of my favorite people. Oh, Rye, stop. You're gonna make me cry.
No, Reagan, stop. Maybe I don't need to talk about this. We don't need to talk about this.
But I think like a lot of times, a lot of people like look at my dad for like all that he accomplished, like success wise. And it's like, it's easy to see, like, you know, he's in the news, he's getting all these awards and stuff like that. And that's great.
I didn't even realize he was on the commercial appeal. I'm like, why is this man on the commercial
He was actually on USA Today. When he passed away, they released something saying that he had passed away.
I don't even know. Like, everyone's saying like that. I don't watch the news, so I don't. I
just Googled. I don't watch the news either, but I only Googled him. When he passed away.
What? Like, is that big?
It's
like,
pretty big. Right now with where I'm at, it's not like USA Today's gonna be writing about me.
Well.
But yeah, so I think it's easy. Like my dad, you know, he constantly was like being recognized for all he's doing in the community, but like my mom was like always behind the scenes. Like I think the greatest thing that my mom did, and I say this with the most admiration, was raising me and my sister. I mean, she put her whole heart into that. And I feel like I would tell her this all the time. Like, I literally would not be the person that I am today without her.
Reagan.
And like I've said in previous episodes, like I think that I'm a great person, but like she was the one that like took the time to like invest in me. And I definitely would not be up here, you know, doing this podcast had it not been for like the confidence that she instilled in me. And just like the overall poise that she like, you know, showed me and the way to like overcome certain things. Because I think, you know, even though my mom grew up privileged and she married a guy who was successful, so she didn't have to work, she also, you know, went through like a lot of struggles, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes people don't like, she would always like look at my dad, for example, because he was always getting awards and being recognized, and people like, even like when my dad passed away, like people were coming up to meet my sister being like, you know, you are your dad's child. And I'm not saying that I didn't learn things from my dad, but the majority of who I am, like I owe to my mom. Like she literally, like I am a spitting image of her, and so is my sister. And she would always talk about how like, you know, she never really ever got recognized for like all the hard work that she did put into raising me and my sister. And you know, that makes me like sad for her, because, you know, when she passed away, she always would tell me and my sister like she just wanted her flowers. Like, I just want my recognition for, you know, all that I've done to, you know, be there for you and your sister, and, you know, I want credit. And I feel like that's one thing that you don't get. Like, stay-at-home parents don't ever get credit for, you know, what it is that they do. And like, I think it is a sacrifice. Like, a lot of people might look at my mom and say like, you know, she got to, you know, not have to worry about a bill, and got new cars, and, you know, went on the best vacations, and didn't have to pay a dime, and didn't have to work for it. But like at the end of the day, like being a stay-at-home parent is a sacrifice. Like she sacrificed a career for herself. Like that's something huge to say. Like if you're out here in the workforce, you have like levels that you can excel and succeed at and become financially stable and, you know, get promotions and be recognized and stuff like that. My mom, she didn't get any of that. You know what I mean? And I think also, you know, not to get into too personal in business, but, you know, when you have somebody who's providing financially, you know, for the family completely, and you have somebody who's not, it creates an imbalance in the relationship, and
it makes you
it can
feel
cause
less
tension.
than,
Yeah. And I think that's something that she felt too. Like, you know, I think, you know, my parents never really got like understood each other. They never really saw eye to eye on what one person brought to the table and what the other one did, because both of their values were different, which is why they butted heads a lot and why they ended up getting divorced. Because my mom really valued family. Like, that's why she was so dedicated to me and my sister. Like, she wanted to know each and every detail of everything that went wrong with us. Like, she would, I mean, anything could be going on with us medically, mentally, academically, whatever. I mean, literally provided anything that we ever needed to like become successful or to get better or to become stronger, wiser, whatever, just become the best people. She literally set the foundation for us. Like, she instilled those lessons into us. Like I said, if there was something that she didn't know, she sure as hell found somebody else who did know and put us in contact with them. And then, you know, we were like, you know,
she had all the connections.
Yeah, she had all the connections. Like, she, you know, even like in terms of like me putting this set together, like this is like my mom. Like, and I think that this is a pretty beautiful set. I've gotten a lot of compliments on the set. But this is like my mom. Like, she was always like, she put like the best birthday parties together for us growing up. Like, even my graduation party, it was like on some like Project X type stuff. Like, the police ended up coming, but it was so cool. Like, my whole neighborhood block was like completely filled with cars. Like, I had kids from like random different schools I've never even seen before coming to my graduation party. We had like laser tag in the backyard, and we had like I don't even know, man. We had like video game trucks. We had catering from like taco shops, ice cream. We had a whole candy bar set up with like a chandelier outside. Like, we had glow up tables. Like, everybody was swimming in the pool. We had a DJ. Like, it was just the most magical time. I don't know, but that was like the best party I've ever gone to be honest. I haven't been to a party that's been that lit since then. That was like the party of the century. I'm sorry.
I didn't have a graduation party.
No, she didn't get a graduation party, but trust me, Riley will get more than I got when she graduates from college. She will get more than I got when she graduates from college. I don't think, because when I graduated from college, I didn't get a goddamn thing. So she will get, trust me, we've had family members reach out to her and be like, you know, I'm going to get you this for your graduation. So like, yeah, it's a trade-off, but that's fine.
It's a big milestone, they say.
Yeah.
All this for a piece of paper.
And to be honest, I think that like the majority of the things that like we do in school, like it's not even like used when you get into the real workforce. I mean, maybe if you become an engineer, like, you know, like.
But honestly, like the things that I'm doing, like, yeah, like I wouldn't say that like, I mean, I guess it's like, well, there are a lot of things. Like, if you're finance and you want to go work for a bank or accounting or stuff like that, like, obviously that's going to help you in some sense. But, like, what I'm doing is so unique because I actually get to, like, build businesses. And, like, no, you're saying it like that, but I'm so serious.
No, I know. And I'm really happy for you because at some point, this podcast is a business, okay? So, like, she's going to help me. Like, you know, we're going to
I'm going to have to start charging you for my services.
Girl, what have you contributed to this podcast yet other than sitting on this couch?
Reagan, because I've been booked and busy.
And I get that, but you're saying you're charging me for your services, girl.
I said once I get my degree, obviously. Once I get my degree.
Well, listen, right now you can't charge me for it. Even if you had your degree, you couldn't charge me for a damn thing because you haven't. You have not put this show together.
No, I have.
If anything, I should be charging you.
No, Regan, I helped set up all the lights and everything like that today.
Today.
And I'm sorry that. Okay,
let's get back on track.
No, you don't want me to humble you, so I'm not going to.
No, it's humble me how?
Don't worry about it, because sometimes it's just best. Mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it at all. Go ahead, though.
All right, so I think that we should get back on topic. But, like, yeah, my mom was, like, literally everything. And I think, like, seeing my dad, like, out here getting all these awards and accolades, it definitely did make her feel some type of way that she's, like, literally kind of keeping the family together, so to speak, and keeping the foundation set in place of creating memories and for us and raising us and, you know, being there for all the cuts and bruises and, you know, illnesses and needing help with homework and all of these different things, shows, recitals, volleyball tournaments, all of this stuff. Like, you know, she sacrificed a life for herself. And I think, like, you know,
I mean, Mom even always talked about this too. Like, even like at like volleyball tournaments and stuff like that, like majority of the time it was like both parents there. Like, my mom was always the only single parent. So it was like she had to do everything
by herself.
Yeah.
And it's not like she just like half-assed being a mom too. Like my mom went above and beyond for me and my sister. Like literally she gave us the top of the top. Like she gave us 150% of everything that she did for the two of us. So it's not like she was a stay-at-home mom and kind of just like, you know, passed it, like, I don't know, got a nanny and was just like, go take care of the kids. Like she invested in us and grinded at that. So it wasn't like it was, and I think sometimes some people are like, oh, well, you know, she had an easy life because she didn't have to worry about anything. But it's like, once again, like there's a sacrifice to that. Like my mom was not happy completely with being a stay-at-home mom. Like she wanted more for herself. She wanted to accomplish more. She wanted a career for herself. I think looking back at it, when it all was said and done, you know, she wanted a career for herself. Because first of all, my mom was one of the hardest workers that I know. Like had my mom started a career like back when it would have been an appropriate time to start a career, she probably would have made more money than my dad did, to be honest. Like she would have literally killed the game at whatever she put her mind to. My mom was she just had such a vision for life and a vision for like putting things together. She was
a true entrepreneur.
Yeah, she was. She had an entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah. She just never knew how to get it started.
So innovative, so creative.
Yeah, so creative. Like, one of the most creative people that I know.
Problem.
Literally. She had a solution to everything. You could come to her with anything. She'd fix it for you.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what it was. She was always fixing everything for everybody else. And I think that was the one thing too, is that she would always talk about how she was always there for everybody else and fixing everything for everybody else, but she couldn't like get her life together. Like it was like she always felt like out of place. Like, you know, a lot of times for some, you know, a lot of people, you know, go into their career and stuff like that and get friends through work and stuff like that. My mom being a stay-at-home mom, her life is in the house. So she didn't have that many friends, you know, who, you know, she could connect with, because anytime she would normally be able to connect with them, they are working and stuff like that. And a lot of them can't relate to what she's going through because, you know, at a certain point in time, my parents got divorced. A lot of people that she knows are working in their career and steady in their marriages and things of that sort. So it was always at a disconnect with like my mom connecting with different people, and not a lot of people could relate to what she was going through. There were a few people that did, but you know, for the most part, it is kind of like a very isolating experience to be a stay-at-home parent. And like I said, with my dad making all of the money, like it created an imbalance in their relationship where it was like one person felt like they were doing more, you know, on one hand, and the other person felt like they were doing more on one hand. So it just, you know, it didn't.
The scales were just always
unbalanced. Like the scale was literally tipping back and forth. It was never an equal partnership. Or maybe at one point it was, and then it just completely just like got all the way up. So, and like I said, we'll get into a conversation about, you know, their divorce and stuff like that and how it impacted Riley and I. But
what it was like growing up with divorced parents.
Yeah. But like I said, like my mom, she just felt like she just wasn't satisfied in life. Like she wanted more. And I think also too, something to consider is that if you know anything about the workforce, you would know that it is extremely hard to get a career for yourself, especially a good paying career at a good company, if you've been out the game for a good minute.
We were literally talking about this
20 something years.
Other day.
Like you're stuck with like starting at ground zero. And it's crazy because like I was saying to myself, like I have my undergraduate degree, only a bachelor's degree. My mom has her master's. And it makes no sense to me. Granted, she's been out the game for a minute, but she has more degrees than I do. And I'm able to secure a more stable, more, you know, high paying, you know, level job than she is at her age with the degrees that she has. Like, granted, like I said, she's been out the game for a minute, but there's so many different skills that my mom has acquired over her life of being a stay-at-home parent where she'd probably be more successful and more hardworking in my job than I currently am. Like, to be honest, she would put her heart and soul into that job. And I mean, I give my job effort, but I can't say I put my heart and soul into it. I mean, you know,
and I don't think anyone should.
I mean, but mom would. That was the kind of, like, she gave her everything to anything. My mom would always say she doesn't half-ass anything. She's either going to give it 0% or 100%. So it's a black or white situation. You're not going to get a half-ass anything from her. And I think that's something that I've tried to learn from her. I think I do a pretty good job. Like, I'm either going to, you know, whatever. But she was like very firm on that. But yeah, so, you know, I think if anything, it's just something to consider that while there were pros to my mom being a stay-at-home parent, and, you know, she definitely benefited me and my sister, but me and my sister benefited from it because we had a parent to rely on all the time. And I think that I'm so grateful for the beautiful relationship that we developed with her over these years, because she was like one of our best friends. Like, yeah, she like got on our fucking nerves like a lot of the time, but like she was such a beautiful person and so giving and so loving and so sweet and, you know, just so like selfless. And she really like did the thing when it came to being a mother. I think like I never felt like I didn't have her in my corner.
Half the mom
Yeah.
that she was.
Yeah, no, for real. I like sometimes even like think to myself like, I don't want to have kids unless I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to be for them what my mom was, you know, to us. And it's just like, I know I'm not at that place yet. So like, I'm not having kids anytime soon.
Way away.
But, you know, I really want to be able to emulate that. But like also do it better too. Because I feel like there's things, every single generation you should want to strive and be better than your parents before you. And that's honestly saying a lot.
I think for me, like what
It's a heavy weight to carry.
I think it is, but I think the only thing that mom, I feel like, struggled with was just, like, not giving to herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She
like,
was
I feel like that was the
there.
only thing. Like, that's the only area that she lacked in. But obviously, it's, like, when you don't give to yourself, that creates a lot of, like, other problems. You know what I mean? Because she was always worried about what was going on with us and stuff like that. Like, she just never took the time to actually, like, worry about what was going on with her. And maybe it's like easier said than done. Obviously Reagan and I don't have kids, so I don't know what that's like to, you know, be so just, you know, not know what's going to happen in the future. And then, you know, on top of the fact that like also, you know, mom at that time, like she was worried about us, but then also like dad was sick too, and she obviously knew that he wasn't going to be here forever. So I don't know, I feel like she just had, I just felt like it was always like, it was always
like, even like she would always talk about sometimes where she was like, I can't wait till you and your girls like are grown and gone and stuff like that. Not in a negative way, but just like she wanted her freedom. Like she wanted to be able to breathe and to focus on her own life. And then right when I go off to college, literally like second semester, my freshman year, my dad gets diagnosed with brain cancer, given like 12 to 14 months to live. So it's like her job never really stopped. Like it was always her worrying about something all the time. It was never just like easy breezy, like, you know, like I said, like we've talked about in previous episodes, like it might seem like we lived a charmed life, but you know, we've gone through some shit and are continuing to go through some shit. And the same could be said for my mom. Like, yeah, like, and like I said, it's so interesting that you see people out here on social media talking about be stay-at-home wives or stay-at-home girlfriends or stay-at-home, you know.
And people are starting to talk about that now. Like there was this one girl, actually I saw a video and it got like a lot of views, like over 1 million likes or something like that, and it was talking about how she had like the worst time ever being a stay-at-home girlfriend, and that she actually ended up leaving her boyfriend and like going and doing something else because she was so miserable doing that. And I just like, I don't know, like it's just,
I feel like a lot of people like idealize like the
idea of not having to like
work
worry
and having everything handed to you, but there's a cost that comes with that, because I feel like at a certain point in time it's like, what are you accomplishing for yourself? I mean, so like, let's say you keep getting handed stuff. Like, is it really like, it's just material things at the end of the day? Is that really gonna help you grow as a person? Is that really gonna, you know, like, what are you doing outside of that to like better your own life? And like, I think also too, it's important to create a foundation for yourself. Like a lot of people are stuck in relationships with men or women who are taking care of them financially. And it's like, as soon as that's gone, it's like, what do you do next? Like, how do you pick yourself up back from this situation? Like you should always have a backup plan. And like a lot of time that comes with having a career, having money of your own, having a foundation for yourself. And it's like, if you've been with somebody for X amount of years and like, you know, you're bringing something to the table, i.e. keeping the house together, things of that sort. But it's like, as soon as that's gone, it's like, what do you have left? Like your husband or wife could pass away. You know what I mean? They could go broke. Like there's so many different things that you guys could get divorced. Like there's so many different things that you have to, you know, take into consideration for your own life. You know, my parents got divorced. My mom, you know, needed to go back into the workforce, and that was hard on her, as we've like described. And she had to go into, you know, a sales job, and she literally hated it. She hated everything about it. She would complain about her job every single day. And it was like hard for me to see, you know, me and my sister to see my mom, you know, knowing how bright of a light she was, knowing how, you know, much potential and, you know, an entrepreneurial mindset she had, to kind of have to dim her light, so to speak, and start at ground zero in a job that she literally like dreaded waking up to every single day. Yeah, like even something I talked about in previous episodes, like she wanted to start a podcast. My mom had business plans of her own. She just never knew how to get it off the ground. And I think she would sometimes come to me and my sister, you know, trying to look for advice from us as to how to get things started. And we would just always tell her, like, you know, at the time, like, I was just starting out my career. Riley was just starting out college, and I didn't know kind of how to balance, like, starting a business and doing all these other things. So I'm just trying to figure out my own life. But I feel like had my mom still been here, you know, I think I can't necessarily say that it would have been like now that it would have happened, but at some point in time, I would have been like, yo, like, this is, we're doing this. And so, like, she would have been right on this couch with us doing this. And, you know, I just wish that I could have, like, given more to her while she was here. You know, I wish that I was older and I could have put her in a position to start up the business that she really wanted to with the listening ear, and, you know, really feel like her career, however short or long it was, like, meant something, and she was passionate about it, and she woke up every day inspired to, you know, be bigger and better and more impactful to individuals around her. You know, I think I just wish that I could have put her in a position to be able to accomplish some of her dreams, because while you and I were a dream of hers, you know, I know that she wanted more for herself, and it does make me sad sometimes to know that, like, she didn't get to accomplish what it is that she set out to do. But then I've had people telling me, like, at the end of the day, the biggest thing that your mom did, and what will always be the most important, is raising you and I. And I think I say this as humbly as I possibly can, but like that in itself, because of like how highly I look at you and how confident and secure I feel in myself, like, that is something that she moved mountains, I feel like, for me. Like, she was like, she's like, I look at her as like a pinnacle of excellence for all that she did for you and I. And so it's just like, I thank her for all that she did, because I just feel like you and I have so much potential in this life to accomplish great things, to be great people, to, I don't know, just to really kill it in life and find love, you know, not just within ourselves and not just with each other, but with other people, whether that be in a relationship with a man or relationship with our friends. Like, we have so much going for ourselves, and I'm so excited to see where your life takes you because of who you are, because of what mom did and what she sacrificed to instill things in you. And I feel like I'm grateful, because I feel like now I have a foundation to, like, know what it's like, what it takes to really be a mother and to really be a committed wife to, and keeping a family together. So I think I'm just super grateful for all that she did, and I don't take the sacrifices that she did lightly, because I know that she was unhappy at times with where things were, but she got up every single day and made sure that she put her best foot forward when it came to the two of us, regardless of how she was feeling. And trust me, there were times when she would let us know how unhappy she was, and we would feel the wrath of it. But at the end of the day, like, when it was all said and done, we always came back together as one and forgave and forgot. And
the Hubble Girls.
Yeah, Hubble Girls. Like, me and my mom, like, when I like graduated from college, my mom actually lived with me for a little minute when I first moved to Tampa and I first started my career. And it's a story that we'll get into a little bit later, but I actually was struggling deeply with some mental health issues. And I actually want to touch on that topic in May, because that's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'll kind of tell the story of what happened with me, but I literally could not be alone. She lived with me for about a year. I think I was mentally unstable for like 2 months in the year of 2020, and then like also in the year of 2019. So like, I had 2 incidences of me mentally not being stable, 2 different instances in 2019 and 2020. And so during that time, my mom had to stay with me just to make sure that I was okay. And I'm fine now. I'm in a good place, if you can't tell. But she got me through that. And like I said, like, had it not been for her determination to like get me well and get me right and back on track, I can't necessarily say that I would be here and like be the way that I am, and like being confident enough to be able to tell my story. Because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of people would try to hide, that they've gone through mental health struggles and stuff like that. And I'm not just talking about like, something simple. Like, I'm talking about something that like literally like it was just wild. Like, it was wild. And it almost got me fired from my job, to be honest. I almost got fired from my job because of it. Not to say that they were discriminating against me, but I literally couldn't even do any work because of it. And so I don't know, like I thank God for her, and she was such a blessing, and I miss her. Like there are literally times when I'm in my room and I just like think about like even like I said, we live together. So like the bed that I have in my room is the same bed that like we slept in my first apartment, because we slept, like I had a 1-bedroom apartment, so we slept in the same bed, we showered in the same shower, like we did everything together. We cooked in the same kitchen, watched TV in the same living room for a whole year. And it's just like the bed that I have, like it's like I'll be in the bed and I'll just like look over, and like for a year I would like see her, every time I wake up in the morning, and it's like she's not there anymore. And it's like hard because I've had situations where people will ask me like how I'm doing, and for a lack of a better word, like I really am okay. Like I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm not depressed, like I'm not anything, but there are times, and that's something that I'll talk about at a later date, in relation to my mom and her passing away and how all this stuff happened. But like, I don't like to really think about her passing away. I don't like to think about it. I don't like to talk about it. Like literally, there are moments when I'll have a moment where I'll think about her, and I'll literally like tell my mind physically to like think about something else because it's too painful. But yeah, she, like Riley always tells all the time, like she was literally one of our best friends. So, I don't know. I just miss her, and I wish that she was here and able to see, us doing the thing and how we overcome so many things, and just know that like her work was not in vain. Like it meant something. And I think, yes, my dad accomplished a lot financially and got all these awards and stuff like that, but we are living and breathing representation of everything that she was. And I think that there's no plaque, there's no award, there's no medal that can outshine what she did with the two of us. And that is something that I will always hold dear to me. And I just hope that one day I'm able to just emulate everything that she was until, I don't know, I just want to strive towards greatness for her.
Yeah, same.
Because I feel like, it's like a sad thing, because it's like, I know my mom was so unhappy and she did sacrifice a lot, and it's like what she did do while she was here, I want to make sure that like we're able to talk, like we're able to give her credit and show her flowers. Like my mom passed away, we had a whole ceremony dedicated to her, and like we got like a billboard, not like a little poster, a huge poster board made, and it said like, on this day we celebrate Renee because she finally got her flowers. And my cousin CJ, he is a set designer for different TV shows and movies, and he also has his own business where he creates different, like, he puts together events, and he was actually on this TV show called Tablescapes with Marcia Stewart, and literally came this close to winning. But he just has such an artistic mindset and can put things together. So we had a very unconventional ceremony for my mom. We actually had it at a garden pavilion, and it was a glass. We were inside, but it was a glass kind of room that we were in that outlooked this pavilion that had a huge waterfall, and it was basically kind of like, felt like it was a garden behind it, and vines all over the place, and it was completely like there was nobody there. It was a huge field. It was so beautiful. And we had these memory trees of like different metal columns, and we had a whole bunch of flowers hanging off of them, and we had people come and write notes to her of like different memories that they've had with her that me and my sister can read, and they hung them up on little clothespin and attached them to the flower that was hanging down from this set like flower scape that my cousin had put together. And we also had another one of them hanging up that had photos of her on it with different individuals, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. If there's something that I want you to take away from this video, it's that stay-at-home parents are more than just stay-at-home parents. And there should be more credit given to them for what is it they do, and also more recognition that needs to be taken to understand that, yes, there are benefits to being a stay-at-home parent, and it might look all glamorous on the outside, but there are also cons that can come as well, and that is a very real reality that our family had to deal with. And I also just want to give so much credit and praise to people who sacrifice a portion of their lives to dedicate it to, you know, keeping a household together, raising their kids, etc., because that is something that I don't even know that I could do myself, to be honest. And I give all the glory to God for allowing him to give my mom the strength to continue on despite her unsatisfaction with her current life circumstances. But just know, like, at the end of the day, my mom is literally one of the most amazing people that I've ever known. She's one of the most selfless, one of the most talented, one of the most hardworking, one of the most kind, one of the most determined, just brilliant and beautiful people that I've ever known. And if I could bring her back here, I would literally tell her that despite all that she felt, not feeling like she did enough with her time here on earth, me and my sister are going to do everything that we can to make her life's work mean something in our journey of life. So, with that being said, thank you guys for coming to watch the podcast again. I wasn't expecting me and my sister to get emotional, as this isn't even the story of how she passed away. I was kind of expecting more emotions would pop up when we got into the story of her passing away and kind of all of that stuff happening. I was not expecting that for this episode, but nonetheless, this channel is meant to be raw and real, and, you know, I'm not hiding anything. My sister's not hiding anything. These are genuinely thoughts and emotions and feelings that we have, and I plan to be as transparent as I possibly can because, like I said, we want to help people. We want to inspire people. We want to uplift people. We want to educate people. We want to build a community here of people to feel like they can be vulnerable with us too and maybe share their stories. Like I said, eventually at some point in time, we'll have guest speakers come on and be able to, you know, share the things that they've gone through, and hopefully we can relate or maybe give some words of wisdom to help them overcome what they're going through. So we hope that you guys have felt something with us today. I hope that you guys feel connected to us. And, you know, overall, like I said, despite these circumstances, me and my sister are doing okay, and we're here for each other, and we feel we have so much support and so much love around us, and I thank God for that. But yeah, we're going to wrap up today. Thank you guys for coming to our channel and watching this video. So yeah, have a great rest of the day, you guys, and yeah. Bye.